Previously on last episode, Mike P had the vibrations vibrating. Check out the clip.
Fit your lifestyle, and you have went through trial and error because of it. Did you hear what Big Bronx said? 95 was a lie. So now you know that if you fit anywhere, and even myself, I gotta question myself too. If I fit anywhere within in any of those rhymes, that means what? We were living a lie. That's correct. We were living a what? A lie. They are believing that thing is real. They believe in them that 95% you said was fake, was lies, and the 5% that was true, it was flipped. They believe 5% was fake, and 95% of it was real. Let's do current events. Let's currently start helping the youth, guiding them the correct way. We could do that. That could be current events. Currently, right now, current. I let my mind shine, but they see the charm swing. That's the problem, you niggas worrying about the wrong things. You niggas not living life, just a long dream. Wanna be stars until you pop up in the wrong scene. I seen it too many times. Guys doing their whole lives behind too many crimes. Still fighting against the odds, I seen it too many times. Mama on the phone crying, nigga. Press 9, if you look up in the sky, then you probably see me flying. Still defying gravity if I find them in my size. The eyes reading windows to your soul. If you listen, then you grow. Turn your vision into goals. Picture from the stove, trying to mix it to a roll. When you hit it from the back, then she diss him, then she go. Better hit the cash app if you wanna see her blow. The unwritten rules of the game we should know. When she gave me her, I wanted more of it. She whispered in my ear, baby, you sure of it? Got into the crib and I made a tour of it. I've been hustling since a young nigga, got a short budget. Yeah, can't believe all the time we wasting. Got the liquor and the weed, what a combination. All them times you and me had a conversation. Once we come together, unity is our revelation. Understand it. They want a ball, but it's underhanded. They have plans, they just never planned it. Both sides play the game. Most times we stay the same. Whether bow tie or gold chain, we still hang. Let them know. We want more. And every time we get it, we want more. If I had the money, the girls, I want more. All them times I was running the hustle to get more, we want more, You know my name, I want more. I done gave you the game, but still they want more. If I gave my girl the whole world, she want more. If I gave my kids everything, they want more. We never satisfied with the hustle, we on tour. So we rob from the poor just to get more, we want more. You woke yet?
Be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, but I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, but I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, but I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, but I'm exhausted and nobody understands.
I'm not supposed to be scared, but why lie? The fact is, you bleed, I bleed, you cry when I die. I'm Popeye, you wanna crack for the greenery. I bounce on the bad vibe, no time to bye-bye. I fly when I'm changing the scenery. Steve, one is the same thing. How you seeing me? I only tell half truth, but you believe in me. 100% of the time, losing my mind. Talks of death got me pursuing the fire, the high power. I burn trees of the live flower. It's fire how I turn my fears to a metaphors, metaphors. The music there, the music you hear. Straight from the soul that never was sold. I got a poker face on with a hand that never will fold. Straight as a pole from the Sin City. I ran with you in the same where it's hard and never be cold.
scared of anything.
Raise the vibration all the way up tonight, man. All the way. All the way. Run that back. All the way. Alright, let's go all black.
I'm exhausted and nobody understands. Not supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands. Not supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands. Not supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands.
I'm not supposed to be scared, but why lie? The fact is, you bleed, I bleed, but you cry when I die. I'm Popeye on the quest for the greenery. I bounce on the bad vibe, no time for bye-bye. I fly when I'm changing the scenery. Steve one is the same thing, how you see me. I only tell half truth, but you believe in me 100% of the time, losing my mind. Talks of death got me pursuing to find a high power. I burn trees of the live flower. It's funny how I turn my face to metaphors, better for the musical air, the musical hair. Straight from the soul that never was sold. I got a poker face on with a hand that never will fold. Straight as a pole from the Sin City. I've been witty in the cell, made no heart and never be cold.
Scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be
It's still B.I. Niggas steady tripping while I'm steady walking. Y'all niggas steady hoping. Stressing on the bullshit, so I'm steady sipping. When they was giving out cents, y'all niggas right missing. I'm about to school y'all niggas smarter than a nigga who pity the fool y'all niggas. My niggas in Desert Storm, DJ Clue, y'all niggas threaten my life and I'ma have to pull these triggers. I'm smarter than you think. Taking shots, swing down every time you fucking blink. Second think someone die every time I fucking wink. And my flow nasty nigga like vomit in the sink. New denims, sitting on the fresh phones. I switch hoes like I switch clothes. I'm with my classy bitch, so I'm in dress clothes. It's your funeral, I'm with all black like the dress code.
be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be
Scared of shit, you don't well prepared for this. 23 pumps under trunks to come and hear this shit. I'm Mike Jordan in the ball, you can't call me. When I come back with that 4-5, on them, swarming on bees in the beehive, we on them. Left them on the scene with skinny jeans and garments. Plus the kid ain't mine, so please tell me why Billie Jean keep calling. This shit I seen often. Babies have abortions, the need for coffins, and niggas keep flossing. So keep talking till they leap off his waist and keep sparking. You see darkness, keep marching on the front line. How you my brother, but you scared to fight one time, huh? All I got is one bomb that I'm gonna deliver. Only nigga you scared is the man in the mirror. Nigga.
scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. Wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. Wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted and nobody understands.
Not supposed to be. Raise the vibration, raise the vibration. Welcome back, raise the vibration. Welcome back, welcome back. Please come in, have a seat. Please come in, have a seat. Thank you. Calm down, calm down. Thank you for the flowers. I appreciate it. I appreciate it all. Thank you. Calm down. Come in, please. Have a seat. Have a seat. Please. Did y'all miss me?
I missed y'all. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Concretians. Welcome back, my pages. Welcome back, my people. Welcome back, kings and queens. Welcome back. How y'all feeling today? How y'all feeling? Let me know in the comments how y'all feeling today. It's a beautiful day. Today. Welcome back to the hottest show on YouTube, Concrete 718, hosted by your favorite, your best, your most favorite, your most concrete host you're gonna find anywhere on this thing we call the World Wide Web. Mike P. Welcome back, ladies. Welcome back. I appreciate you. The hottest show on the internet, Concrete 718. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's go. How y'all feeling today, people? As always, y'all know my disclaimer, man. We ain't got to talk about it. I'm adding a new disclaimer on there today, though. But y'all know my disclaimer. We not here to disrespect, bring down, throw shots at, none of that. So anybody's character, anybody's belief, personal belief, religious belief, brand, anything you stand for. We're not here to do that. We're not here. But I do want to add one disclaimer on the end of that. Please do me a favor, you other platforms out there. I do not want to see you wearing this. This right here. This right here. This bandana that represent that good old tubepac, right? I don't want to see y'all wearing this. Unless you want to live up to it. It's like a brother walking around grabbing a crown off the ground and just throwing it on his head. You're not living up to that, my good brother. Please do not put this on. This represents. I'm not wearing this because I'm trying to look cool. I told you. I told y'all I don't do the stuff because it's cool. Educate. If you're not gonna come with some educated thug shit, listen. I'm not knocking if you want to be a gangster or not. But if you ain't coming with some educated thug shit, please take this off your head. You only got half of the part. You only got half of the message. That's what that means. If you only spitting thug shit, that don't resonate with nothing with growth. If it don't resonate with growth, you only got half the message. Half the message. So please, got Pop turning on his grave right now. Please, don't put this on. I don't want to see no platform putting this on unless you want to live up to it. Because over here in Concrete, if you've been following, you know that's all you're going to get is that educated thug shit. That educated real shit. That's it, man. Come on, please. Lady, please. These imposters on the roster. Nah. But please, though, represent properly. You know what I mean? For all my peoples out there, especially if you're a black platform, salute to all the platforms out there. Positive or negative, salute because you are trying to do something. You're trying to shift the culture. But please, as we always do, we raising the vibration over here. We raising vibration. So please, just keep it, just keep it cordial. Keep it cordial, my good brothers. You know what I mean? If you're gonna teach, then teach. You know what I mean? Take your position. But if you're not, just take a seat. You ain't gonna teach, then take a seat. All right? You ain't coming with this real information, then take a seat. And you could be in a position to learn a thing or two. Alright? But anyway, let's get into it, man. We're going to go straight into it tonight. Not a long talking time. I got a great video I want to break down tonight, as you can see in the title. Again, my disclaimer, I'm not trying to knock the hinges off the door for all my sport lovers. It's a lot of sport lovers out there. Y'all know? Y'all feel me? It's a lot of y'all out there. So, and I love sports, you know what I mean? But I play from time to time for the exercise, But for all my sport lovers out there, today's episode, as you can see in the title, today I'm leaving the rappers alone. I'm going to the sport play, the sport entertainers. As in my depth slave pyramid, I explained it all, so you can see clearly how it was all connected, all of it. All of it's connected, brothers, sisters. So today's episode, I'm gonna bring to you how sport entertainment is rigged, man. Well, y'all thought it was gonna be different. Y'all thought it was gonna be different from y'all. I know this is gonna blow the hinges off. I know a lot of people, FanDuel, they betting going against Vegas. No, you can't. Knowing you can't beat Vegas, but again, my good brothers, I ain't trying to spoil the fun. You heard? But we're gonna get straight into it. It's a good brother, another good brother that I follow. I'm gonna play his video today. Unplug him. I'm gonna, again, as always, I'm gonna leave the information in the description so y'all can check him out. He has a bunch. This brother's he's very informative. But again, this is a topic I wanted to touch on because this is definitely in my concrete lane. But I want break down sports and how that also is controlled and filtered, and that's something that see, entertainment, we could be like, it's entertainment, it's not meant to be real, you know what I mean? But for sports, I do know for most it of course we want to assume that it's real. You got wrestling, you got boxing. Wrestling is like, okay, wrestling would be like rap. We know it's not, not always real, but I would say sports would be like boxing in the sense where the assumption is this is real. This is on real time right now. But hey, I'm sorry here to burst your bubble once again. I'm here to burst some more bubbles. Pew, boom, boom, boom. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I gotta keep it real. But so we're gonna get right into it. We're not gonna hold it up. Shout out to my man, Unplug him. We're gonna get right into it. Let's go. Right. You ain't never seen my movies?
Sports Illuminated. Featuring Days of Noah and Unplug 'em, makers of fire content. And welcome to the first installment of Sports Illuminated, which is brought to you by Hip Hop Illuminated, a brainchild from Days of Noah and I's Tricknology discussions, which led to the Tricked series, which then led to Sports Illuminated, where we want to look at sports from a point of view that it's seldom looked at. We're going to look at the Illuminati involvement in it, whether or not we believe it to be rigged or not, or if there may even be some occult practices that go on. I know some folks have heard about Tom Brady's admission that his wife did spells and rituals to help him be such a successful QB. But we're going to look at a couple of guys who are really drilling down on this the way that it should be done. No need for me to reinvent the wheel. So here's a couple of videos, first from Brian Toohey and then from Lobo. Brian Toohey, the first video, it's called The Proof. 5 Facts Prove the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and other sports fix and manipulate their games. And then we're going to look at his part 2 of that, woven in between a couple of videos from Lobo about magnetic ball usage. And finally, at the bottom of that rabbit hole, we're going to find a clip that you may know from someone who posted it about 7 years ago. If you didn't know before, there is a sports Illuminati rabbit hole. And whether you're a sports fan or not, you're going to be interested. You're going to hear some things you've never heard before. So please sit back and enjoy. Lobo will be our guest this Sunday. Peace.
Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business.
You know, first of all, let me say this. Some of these folks, I understand the money involved, but they need to grow the hell up. Sports is theater.
Hello, I'm author Brian Toohey. Since 2010, I've written 4 books about sports and corruption. The Fix is In, Larceny Games, A Season in the Abyss, and The Fix is Still In. I've also written for the likes of Sports Illustrated, Sports Unearthed, and Vice Sports. And somehow I can be called a scholarly authority as I've been cited before the United States Supreme Court. But mainly what I do is talk about game fixing in sports. I approach this from 2 different angles. The first is from the sports gambling aspect of things.
The college kids are fixing games right now.
Again, you don't want to put a blanket over everybody, but is it going on now? Absolutely.
What about pro players? They don't need the money as badly.
Not anymore. Back in my day, yes. We put a lot of guys in trouble because if they lost 50, 100, I used to tell a guy when I had a bookmaker coming to me and we had the Jets, and they were gambling. And they said, Mike, the guy's into me for 50,000. Should I cut him off? I said, why would you cut him off? You're writing an entry on a piece of paper. Let him get into you for 250,000 because he will. Usually athletes don't gamble. They're not smart gamblers. I just let him get into you deep and then bring him to me. Because I tell him straight out, look, you owe a gambling debt, whether it be here or in Vegas, you're going to pay. You can't walk away from your debt. So let's figure it out. How are you going to do it? So if you don't bring me the money by Monday, I'll give you another way out. You guys are favored to win by 14, by 10, by 7. You're a quarterback. First time you get the ball, you put it in the other receiver's hands. You're a running back. First time you get the ball, you put it on the ground. Drop it. Let me worry about the rest.
In short, you might have been a Yankee fan, and I'm not saying it was the Yankees. You really didn't give a damn about these guys.
No. When it comes to that, it was business.
Despite the denials of the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and others, who in the past actually hired Mr. Francesi to talk to their athletes about the dangers of sports, gambling, and game fixing, most everyone can agree that this has happened in the past and will likely occur again in the future. I mean, if it's been proven, and it has been, that the world's most popular sport has seen matches fixed in the world's most watched sporting event, then why is everyone in denial about the possibility of a regular season NBA game being fixed? Especially when one of the league's team owners said this on a national radio show.
The Mavs, once we were eliminated from the playoffs, we did everything possible to lose games.
Can you say that again, Mr. Billionaire Mark Cuban?
The Mavs, once we were eliminated from the playoffs, we did everything possible to lose games.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is how an NBA owner fixes a game. Not with a gun, but with a steak dinner. So, in line with such a public pronouncement, what I'm here to discuss is the other type of fixing which occurs in sports today. That is when the leagues themselves manipulate or outright fix their own games for entertainment purposes. Of course, this is considered a conspiracy theory, and I've been dubbed the king of sports conspiracies. But I think if you'll bear with me and watch this video, the evidence I'll present will prove to you that this is the case. Now I know you don't have a lot of time, and there's a whole bunch of cat videos out there to watch, so go ahead and rev up this presentation to 1.5 times normal speed, and I'll try to make these 5 points as concisely as possible. Here we go. Fact number 1. Revenue sharing. All leagues share revenue. As much as the owners like to portray that it's our team versus the entire league, on the money side of things, it's all for one and one for all. The NHL does this, the NBA does this, and heck, even Major League Baseball owners share revenue. It's what keeps many small market teams in business. How each league accomplishes this is a complex mess of dollars and equations, but trust me, they all do it. More than any other league, though, NFL owners share somewhere between 70 and 80% of all revenue the league takes in. The vast majority of this money comes directly from each league's broadcast rights. In other words, TV money, which is why wins and losses are virtually meaningless to each team's bottom line. What matters is star athletes and storylines. They garner the highest ratings, generate more ad revenue, and land the best TV deals, which in turn means there's more money for everyone involved. So, no matter which team is on the receiving end of a championship ring, every team will profit when the dream season is maximized. Fact 2. While we casually call them sports, the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, NASCAR, and the rest are all in fact businesses. They don't play the games for free. They play them to make money, and this has been going on since about 1869. The NFL actually argued this very fact before the Supreme Court, with their lawyers stating that the NFL's teams compete as a unit in the entertainment marketplace. The WWE, professional wrestling, which is admittedly scripted sports entertainment, exists in this exact same marketplace as the NFL, NBA, and the rest. They are all just a form of show business, and the athletes are the entertainers. Let me run a scenario past you. A wealthy owner hires a general manager who in turn appoints a staff to oversee an operation which includes trainers, equipment managers, and coaches. Then the general manager seeks out the best employees available, each of whom is a specialized talent capable of doing what few others in the world can do. Once this roster is assembled, the coaches work with them, teach them, train them, and push them to be the very best they can possibly be. The work is choreographed and practiced time and again until it becomes routine, muscle memory even, and can be executed with split-second timing and precision. Then, when the time comes, this troupe is brought out to perform in front of a paying audience who marvel at the athleticism on display. Now, what did I just describe? A circus, a ballet troupe, or an NFL team? Truth be told, there is little difference between the inner workings of each operation. What's different is the perception of the audience. The circus is a performance, ballet is art, football is a sport. But in reality, in each case what is on display is merely entertainment. Don't believe me? Listen to this.
Well, we sell fantasy. We don't sell reality. And we have grown men and women, in costumes, playing for millions of dollars, and more importantly, enthralling tens of millions of people. And furthermore, we sell competition. Our teams and our athletes have to be bitter rivals and competitors on the field of play, but they've got to be partners off the field of play. And we need rules. We sell uncertainty of outcome. And so we need rules, both playing rules, and frankly, we need economic rules.
But
and
isn't
that's
the reality that it's a business when owners want it to be a business? It's a sport when they want it to be a sport. And for a fan, it's, I agree with you, it's a fantasy.
Fact 3. The ticket you purchase to a sporting event is actually just a license to see the listed event. In other words, if you buy a ticket to a Major League Baseball game, the league and the team's only obligation is to play a baseball game. It doesn't mean the league's rules have to be followed, or that certain athletes need to appear or perform, or that the game played even needs to be legitimate. They just need to show up and put on an exhibition of baseball rather than, say, a volleyball game, and Major League Baseball has fulfilled its duty to the ticket.
I want to pause right there on factory. I want to pause right there on factory. Yeah. I just want to real quick. This whole video is going to be self-explanatory, so I'm not going to do too much, dialogue in between. But come on, my brother. Come on. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear? He said we sell fantasy. And the funny thing is they have fantasy basketball, fantasy football, right? They have that. But when you're betting on the big boy game, that's not fantasy. That's real. That's the mothership, baby. That's the mothership, man. It's a business. This is why these major games, the Super Bowl or the basketball chip, is always like neck and neck or really close. You know what I'm saying? They selling you competition. They're selling you that. It's like a movie. They have to make the movie look good. The movie got to be good. It got to be a climax. Can't just be like, oh, one team, outdid another. Come on. It's business. And again, if you look, and if he said it, he described it. If he described he described one thing, but he said, did I just describe a ballet, a circus, or an NFL team? Because you couldn't tell the difference. They all have the same concept, as you can see. So, again, like I said, I'm not gonna put it's self-explanatory, but I just want to point that out. And he said it. It's only thing that changes is our perception of it, which is the consumers, the fans. You say boxing is real and you say wrestling is fake, right? It's like almost, wrestling's fake, right? But what if I told you boxing is just like wrestling, just more intense, a little more intense? No? All right. Let's get back to it then. Let's get back to it.
game, and Major League Baseball has fulfilled its duty to the ticket purchaser. Don't believe me? This has been proven in court with the Spygate lawsuit. In that case, a New York Jets fan sued the New England Patriots for illegally, by the NFL's rules, videotaping their opponent's coaching signals. The lawsuit asked for the Jets ticket holders' money back from the past 10 years' worth of games, the duration of the Patriots cheating via this videotaping scheme. The Third Circuit Court of Appeals' main conclusion in this case was the following. At best, he, the plaintiff, possessed nothing more than a contractual right to a seat from which to watch an NFL game between the Jets and the Patriots, and this right was clearly honored. The plaintiff possessed either a license or at best a contractual right to enter Giant Stadium and to have a seat from which to watch a professional football game. In the clear language of the ticket stub, this ticket only grants entry into the stadium and a spectator's seat for the specified NFL game. The plaintiff actually was allowed to enter the stadium and witness the specified NFL game between the Jets and the Patriots. He thereby suffered no cognizable injury to a legally protected right or interest. The judge went on to conclude, "We do not condone the conduct on the part of the Patriots and the team's head coach, and we likewise refrain from assessing whether the NFL sanctions and its alleged destruction of the videotapes themselves were otherwise appropriate. We further recognize that professional football, like other professional sports, is a multi-billion-dollar business. In turn, ticket holders and other fans may have legitimate issues with the manner in which they are treated. Significantly, our ruling also does not leave the plaintiff and other ticket holders without any recourse. Instead, fans could speak out against the Patriots, their coach, and the NFL itself. In fact, they could even go so far as to refuse to purchase tickets or NFL-related merchandise. However, the one thing they cannot do is bring a legal action in a court of law. And if that's the best protection a ticket provides a fan, which is basically zero protection at all, do you honestly believe watching a game on television grants one more legal rights to a fair game? So did you hear that, sports fans? Stop trying to sue a team or a league when there's a bad call that goes against you. You cannot win. Not in a court of law. Fact 4. There is no federal law preventing a league from fixing its own game. Let me state that again in case you do have this cranked up to 2 times the normal playback speed. There is no federal law preventing a league from fixing its own game. There are 2 federal laws that do come close. The first is known as the quiz show law because, believe it or not, the television networks in the 1950s used to fix their game shows in exactly the manner I allege sports are rigged today, and for the very same purposes, to make them more exciting and to keep people watching. In a nutshell, the quiz show law states that it is illegal to alter or rig the outcome of an intellectual contest for broadcast purposes. The key word in the law is intellectual, as this law does not apply to physical or other types of contests. In other words, you couldn't legally fix the outcome of Jeopardy, but you could tamper with Survivor, The Bachelor, or the NFL because none of these contests are intellectual in nature. The other law of note on the books is the Sports Bribery Act of 1964, which was passed to protect the integrity of sports from the mafia and other gambling interests. It reads in its entirety, "Whoever carries into effect, attempts to carry into effect, or conspires with any other person to carry into effect any scheme in commerce to influence in any way by bribery any sporting contest, with knowledge that the purpose of such scheme is to influence by bribery that contest, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both." The key word here being bribery. If a league instructs one of its employees, be it an official, a coach, or an athlete, to influence and or manipulate an outcome in a certain manner, such action does not break this law. Bribery has not occurred.
It's a terrific start that led to a 14-point lead at one point, but it's down to 5. What changed those last few minutes for you guys?
You want me to be honest with you?
Yes.
You guys are the whistles.
Believe it or not, no one has ever been arrested for violating the Sports Bribery Act in relation to an NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, or NHL game, and that includes former NBA ref Tim Donaghy. Fact 5. This is the saddest point of all, and one that everyone should now be aware of. It is legal for the media to lie to you. In the era of President Trump, it's become clear that fake news is everywhere. This holds true for sports coverage as well. In fact, what's worse for sports fans is that the major networks, which are owned by gigantic media conglomerates, literally fund professional sports. The NFL, NBA, and the rest could not exist as they do without television's money. In fact, every player's salary is paid for by the television networks. The reason the cap space rises each year is because television is pumping more and more money into sports leagues because it's become the last thing broadcast on television that needs to be consumed live as it happens. Without TV's money, sports as we know it ceases to exist. So ESPN, NBC Sports, TNT Sports, and all the rest won't negatively cover sports or do deep investigations into corruption in sports because they fund sports. It's their biggest form of entertainment. It's their most watched programs. It's all just show business. These 5 facts are undeniable, and being true, with nothing preventing the league from manipulating or fixing one of its own games, wouldn't it be the best business decision to do so? To give the fans exactly the type of drama they crave? The clear answer is yes. So you can debate which players, referees, teams, and games have been influenced, but it doesn't really matter. Because if just one game, just one, was intentionally manipulated by a league, then every game that league presents becomes suspect. The league's integrity vanishes, and without that, what's left? What is there to sell you besides their integrity?
Remember what's going on. More and more throughout this country, gambling is being legalized.
Yes.
So you have a lot of people betting a lot of money on these games, and they see these referees, they all have, just like I have right now, they have an earpiece in.
You're right.
So they're starting to say, again, conspiracy theories are flying.
Right.
This cloud of doubt is growing over the NFL. Are these games predetermined? Or did they want the Rams to go?
If the people ever think the outcome is already predetermined, it's over. Football is done.
And again, what did the owner of the New Orleans Saints say?
Right.
Gail
Benson.
What did she write in her response? She used the word integrity. She said this is called into question the integrity of the National Football League. Well, that's a strong word to use because after a while, once you lose your integrity,
Skip,
you're done.
I think this.
Hi, I'm Colin Loeffler with the Minnesota Vikings, and this is the ultimate reception. Now every kid can catch like a pro. Come take a look.
Ultimate Reception is the most innovative youth sports entertainment product in years. Players using an Ultimate Reception football and gloves are so effective they are not allowed in any high school or NCAA football game. Ultimate Reception features a patent-pending magnetic grip system that literally makes the ball stick to your hand. And with the smallest, strongest magnets in the world on your side, it usually only takes one hand.
All right, so subject 1, what did you think about the Ultimate Reception?
It's amazing. You can't even drop it with the gloves. Just make a lot of catches you weren't allowed to make without the gloves. It's pretty awesome.
So how easy did it make it catching it one-handed?
Stick your glove out there and the ball sticks to it.
Good deal.
It's all done using a low-frequency transmitter that is integrated into the football.
This is the rechargeable battery for the device. And then here's the actual transmitter. This is the on-off switch so we can turn it off. These are the 2 wires from the antenna coming up into the transmitter.
And here's the key. The transmitter creates a current in the wire, which turns the ball into a pretty simple electromagnet. This time-lapse video shows how it's all put together. The ball is deflated and unlaced. The bladder is removed, and then a wire is wrapped around the bladder several times. The bladder is put back into the football, and then the antenna and the transmitter are epoxied together to make them more durable. Everything is then packed back into the football, which is laced back up and then reinflated. The weight is within the standard deviation of accepted professional football weights. The ball is carefully balanced.
If you think about a science experiment you might have done in school where you wrapped a coil of wire and then connected the coil of wire to a battery and then looked at what happened to a compass, you're measuring the same sorts of things that you did with the iron filings and the permanent magnet. In one case, it's a permanent magnet. The other case, it's created by the currents, but the fields are very similar. And effectively, what we're doing is we're taking the football and turning it into a magnet.
Is it just me, or have one-handed, mind-blowing miracle catches stopped seeming like miracles? No. It's not miracles. It's manufacturing. We're in an NFL equipment room. This is the place where drops go to die, where one-handed miracles happen every day. Do you know why? Because this is where they keep these new, stickier than a frog's tongue gloves. The NFL is in love with the gloves. The reviewers are raving. Wide receiver Hakeem Nicks. You don't even need to think about catching it. Hall of Fame analyst John Madden. Pretty soon these gloves are going to catch a ball without a hand in them.
I think a little grip is definitely, helps a little bit, especially when they're new. One hand is amazing, man. Amazing, man.
What do you mean?
It just sticks. It just sticks.
It sticks so often that the NFL is investigating whether these gloves make it too easy. The aluminum bat of the NFL?
No, I don't think. It's accessory. It's accessory.
It's not an aid?
No.
Because we've been going all over town, and some people are catching it pretty easy with these gloves. Like who? Like everybody. We started with the receivers at Miami's South Beach Senior High School, where we first asked them to make one-handed catches the old-fashioned way. We didn't see many. All right, High Tides, what's your record this year?
2-7.
2-7? We're going to get you better. This is our game plan. Sticky gloves. Let's do it. From here on in, you're going to catch every pass, every bus. You're going to catch colds you didn't even want to catch. This is going to do it. All ready? Gloves on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Gloves! Look at him, 6 in a row. And if you think gloves help on the football field, you ought to see what they do often.
¡Qué fácil, Dios mío! ¡Súper fácil!
Score! Score! Forget football. Gloves make everything easier.
Fácil.
Honestly, sometimes you don't need to wear much else but the gloves.
Maybe they just got good hands. Maybe.
I hear what you're saying. We love all these catches. I know. But is it fair to all the receivers who came before them, who had to catch without them? The Steve Largents, the Lynn Swans. I say no, it isn't. Because let's face it, if somebody like me can do it, then you know, it's too easy.
Manning on a play fake. Rolls right, throws a deep ball down the right sideline. Odell Beckham Jr. made the catch with one hand for the touchdown! Wow, what a catch by the rookie!
Ridiculous!
Oh my goodness! This is sick. Put this to music.
Insane. How do you make that catch?
He catches this ball with 3 fingers. His thumb, the other 2 fingers never touch the ball.
Shotgun. Murray out of the pocket. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. Murray heaves it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. It is caught.
miraculous! It's Murray magic! And DeAndre Hopkins is the man who comes away with it.
He went over the top of Tre'Davious White. Jordan Poyer came in late. He's got Micah Hyde on his back and catches it and possesses it all the way through. Look at those hands. We keep hearing about those 6X gloves that he wears for his large hands. How about how large and strong those hands are? You remember before this?
But this is another form of bread and circus, or the idea of bread and circus. Give the people something to distract them so they don't worry about what we're doing behind closed doors, so they don't get involved in politics, so they don't actively try to work towards changing things. Get them preoccupied, distracted with pie in the sky, literally moon in the sky. So it was a phrase used by a Roman writer, the bread and circus idea. And the Roman writer, the phrase is attributed to Juvenal. Shh, be quiet. No, not that Juvenal.
Just want to pause right there for 1 second. I could hear the football fans right now. Oh, we know about those gloves. No, they don't use it in the NFL. No. There's a word for that. They have a word for that. It's called cognitive dissonance. I'll put the definition up on the screen. It's called cognitive dissonance. It's like, again, it's emotions. It's playing off emotions. It's your perception, how you feel. So we're gonna, as long as you're a fan of something, you're gonna choose to ignore. You know what I'm saying? This goes along with the celebrities. You know what I'm saying? I was saying this the other day to one of my people, is that, when in my last pod, when I was the academics, when I brought up the Fat Joe talking about 95% of his rhymes is fake. I just want to. This is a sidebar. I'm gonna get back to it right now. And I was like, that's crazy, because I seen people, comments, on Fat Joe video or interview, whatever. Some people were like, that's crazy. I like how I felt. Like, thank you for finally, being real, being concrete, and not just an entertainer at the moment, and keeping it a buck. Shout out to Fat Joe. But then even still, I seen in the comments, y'all dumb. Y'all don't see what he's doing. He's just protecting Young Thug. He's saying it. All our rhymes are fake. Young Thug rhymes are fake too. Like, don't believe it. You know what I mean? Right. So which is plausible. But I want to say this. The reality of Fat Joe. Look, the reality of what he said. My rhymes 95%. Because look at him in reality. What is Fat Joe? Is Fat Joe a crack dealer? Is Joey Crack a crack dealer? In reality, currently, no. He's a business owner, as he said. He said the rhymes can't match up to Joseph Cartagena. He said it. So even when he's telling you, so whether you want whatever perception you choose to believe, see, some people believe like, thank God Fat Joe telling the truth, and some people believe, he's just covering up. Still ignoring the reality. That's what. Let me put the definition of cognitive dissonance. That's what I just want to put that in perspective, so people don't think that there's not a definition for this thing. That even when you knowing the truth, even when the truth is told to you, this is what concrete is all about. Bringing the truth, the concrete truth. But even when you do, I'm trying to explain to you. Even when you bring it. There's a thing called cognitive dissonance. Some people are too absorbed to the fantasy. They're emotionally attached. Not only emotionally attached, right? Remember I said that some people real lives from Fat Joe Rhymes, their life, that's their life. Fat Joe Rhymes is actually their lives. So they have trauma attached to it. They have scars attached, pain attached to it. So it's not. I won't even. For those people, I won't say it's cognitive dissonance. It is cognitive dissonance, but I understand why. They have real life trauma attached to it. So for them to say, nah, this ain't real, they can't. They can't say it's not real because that's their real life. The part that's not real is that one person is promoting it, projecting it as if it's real, but not living that. While you go out there and be the what? The crash dummy. Pretty much. No other way to put it. Someone set you up to be the crash dummy. Anyway, I don't want to go off topic. This is about, the ball. This is about sports. But I just want to show you how cognitive dissonance works. From whether it's entertainment all entertainment, but whether it's, music, hip hop, or sports. It's the same thing. Even when the truth is slapped in your face, your attachment won't allow you to believe it and agree to it. That's it. Let's get back to it, man.
You remember before this?
But this is another form of bread and circus, or the idea of bread and circus. Give the people something to distract them so they don't worry about what we're doing behind closed doors, so they don't get involved in politics, so they don't actively try to work towards changing things. Get them preoccupied, distracted with pie in the sky, literally moon in the sky. So it was a phrase used by a Roman writer, the bread and circus idea. And the Roman writer, the phrase is attributed to Juvenal. Shh, be quiet. No, not that Juvenal. But the poet, the Roman poet, active in the late 1st and early 2nd century CE, Juvenal. This was a phrase, bread and circus, that was used to deplore the declining heroism of Romans after the Roman Republic ceased to exist and the Roman Empire began. He says 2 things only the people anxiously desire: bread and circuses. The government kept the Roman populace happy by distributing free food and staging huge spectacles. And that's what the Super Bowl or the Super Bowl is, a huge spectacle. Not with free food, but you can go somewhere and eat more lavishly than you would on another day. Folks who wouldn't give a cripple crab a crutch would be very inviting for you to come by and eat Doritos and rich blood pressure raising sauces with them. Okay. Juvenal, again, he didn't make 400 degrees, but he was an important guy to ancient Rome. Juvenal was considered to be the most powerful of all Roman satiric poets, and that's who we get the term bread and circus from. Game red, white, and black, which we can say that's incidental, except for Jordan is the GOAT of basketball. GOAT, meaning, GOAT as taken from, I believe it was LL Cool J's idea to say that GOAT meant greatest of all time. So Jordan is considered the greatest of all time. He happens to use red, white, and black on arguably his most famous shoe. At least it was the first one that solidified him as an idol. And then Tom Brady, now with a new team, another team that has similar iconography, similar symbolism, but now with his new team, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their color scheme being red, white, and black, he is now considered the GOAT. At 6 rings, a lot of people were saying he could be the GOAT, he could be the greatest. But after ring number 7, it was complete and solidified that he is considered to be the greatest of all time in football, and he happens to now represent this red, white, and black. What's up with the red, white, and black? I used to think it was a sweet color scheme, boy oh boy, when I was about 14. But the skull and bones is also seen on the logo of Tom Brady, the greatest of all times team. So this GOAT, again, the Baphomet being a goat-headed entity, symbolizing duality. You see the 2 swords, which represent the 2 bones in the classic Jolly Rogers crossbones, which is usually used on the flags of pirate ships. There was a giant ship, or there is a giant ship connected to the stadium where the Super Bowl was played, which is part of the symbolism that's attached to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the red, white, and black happens to be the satanic colors, or the colors of the Church of Satan. Did you know they had colors like, the American colors are red, white, and blue, right? Different countries have different color schemes, although the most popular color combination is usually, is red, white, and blue. Red, white, and black is not far behind it. Number 1 would be red, white, and blue. But the red, white, and black is for the satanic flag, or the Church of Satan. It's also notable that Florida, which is where you find Tampa Bay, shout out to Sister Cocoa Puffs. And thank you, sister, again, for turning me on to the Audible Books link. But Florida happened to stand with the Confederacy during the original Civil War, and we know that we have all been kind of bracing for a civil war. The news media programmed us and put in our minds to think towards a civil war, even if it was only a psychological or ideological civil war. Pardon me. We've all been kind of prepped for a new civil war, or we've all been reacquainted with the idea of a civil war 2.0 because of the insurrections that marked 2020. Not just the Roni made 2020 stand out, but also all of the division. Again, 2020, the vision is division. You can check out that video for more on that, also here on this channel. But Florida represented the Confederacy, or they stood with the South. It's the southernmost state that you find on the East Coast. I looked at the etymology of Buccaneer, and Buccaneer comes from a word that was used to describe a little grill that was commonly used on ships, ocean ships, and guys that would be out at sea for a long time, especially in the Caribbean, would use this little grill, a little bucanari, or whatever the little grill was called. And so the people who would always use this little grill to cook their meat on their ships became known by the name of the little grill. And this is where we get the term buccaneer. But most folks will look at the symbolism. They'll see the Jolly Rogers, the skull and bones, and they would, of course, naturally think, like any logical person would, this has to do with pirates and piratry. So I had to look it up. What is the difference between a buccaneer and a pirate? So according to the Peace Palace Library website, Buccaneers are usually distinguished from privateers because buccaneers rarely had valid commissions. So, in other words, privateers would be ship owners who were commissioned to go out to sea and, and buy and sell or trade. And buccaneers were people who just kind of did that unlicensed. They bootlegged. They did it without being commissioned. They were crooks, in short. But now this would distinguish them from pirates, who weren't only crooks. Pirates were crooks too, but the pirates wasn't about no paperwork. They was just about buffaloing you, bum rushing the show, and getting what they wanted to get from you, looting the booty, and then they go. And that is where the original term for booty as being something desired by men came from. And these were men that spent a long time at sea with one another too. Aye, matey, higher. But anyhow, I digress. But anyway, so a buccaneer is just a pirate with some paperwork, or rather, a buccaneer is a pirate, rather, not necessarily with paperwork, but a buccaneer is not the pirate that's going to just buffalo you and take your stuff. The buccaneer is doing business, but he's not commissioned to do it. Overstood? Okay, let's move on. Check. So what I began to think about then is, oh wow, the skull and crossbones symbol and how it relates to the brotherhood. Most notably, the Skull and Bones group. You may have seen the movie The Skulls with Paul Walker, who was most famously known for being in the Fast and Furious. But he was also in the Skulls. He was a key character in that depiction of the Skull and Bones, which is a notorious brotherhood from out of Yale University. One that W. Bush belonged to. That's the slow one. That's the one that said, you know, there's an old expression. It's in Texas. I believe it's in Texas and in other places too. But, there's an old expression that says, fool me once.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
You can't fool me again. Okay, that one. The W, George W. Bush, his daddy, George Herbert Walker, Sr., Poppy Bush, as he was called so affectionately by the Bin Laden family. Oh, such friendship. And by their father, Prescott Bush. They were all members of the Skull and Bones, and so was John Kerry, who happened to be the person running against W. Bush. When Kerry ran for the presidency. So you had a Skull and Bones member set to win no matter who won that presidential race. Again, showing you that these competitions, whether they be political competitions like Slow Joe versus the Don Dada, or whether they be sports competitions, when there's millions of dollars and lots of power to be had by whoever wins, you are foolish if you really think with your 5 1/2 ounces of brain that they would allow those things to be decided by chance. Or like Bobby the Brain Heenan would say, to be decided by some ham and eggers like us. Or to be decided by 22 meatheads on AstroTurf. So these things have to be controlled, and they have to be controlled in such a way that it doesn't appear controlled. Just like the gladiator who is given fixed gladiator matches because the people, for whatever reason, side with this particular gladiator. And the emperor knows that if this gladiator loses, the people will lose their minds, and whatever hold or control that the gladiator has on the people, that the emperor uses for his own advantage, that control would be lost. So yes, they would fix some of the gladiator matches. You know, make sure a lion ain't got no teeth and that type of thing. Yes, those things would go on. So it's still to this day, it goes on. That doesn't mean that that lion is not going to get some good licks off on that gladiator, because a lion paw slap, even if he's been declawed, is nothing nice, I'm sure. I don't know. I haven't been in the lion's den, but it's probably not something you want to feel upside your head. But my point is, these things are fixed. They're fixed, and like the movie Blue Chips with Shaquille O'Neal when he was a younger man showed you, it doesn't take the whole team to be in on it. If it's, you know, if too many people know a secret, it won't be a secret for long. All it takes is a couple of key players, a couple of key guys with the number 13 or 6 or whatever on their jersey, a couple of referees. All it takes is a few people, a few devout brotherhood members to fix a game. So, as I looked at the symbolism of the Buccaneers, I couldn't help but relate, you know, first and foremost, that, hey, they've got the skull and crossbones on their helmet, and skull and crossbones makes me think about brotherhood organizations, not just the skull and bones, okay, but others as well. The Knights Templar, you know, comes to mind as well. So I remembered, well, wow, you know, they said that the skull that is pictured, you know, I thought about the picture. There are pictures of George Bush Sr., George Jr., and of their dad with their skull and bones mates, with their mates. There are pictures of them, and seated between them, as you'll see in one of the pictures coming up, there is a pedestal with a skull on it. And the lore was that this skull was the Native American chief's skull, who we call Geronimo. This rumor had been repeated so many times that CNN picked it up even. And yes, CNN is, you know, their mouths are not prayer books. They are no proof of truth. It's mainstream media news. And if they reveal a thing, it's always overplay for the underlay. If they're revealing something, it's only to conceal something else. We know this. But I'm saying that that took the idea from out of the realm of myth and conjecture and into the realm of, you know, public record, at least. So people began to know or understand or question in mass, hey, is this Geronimo's skull? It wasn't just something that was whispered in the spiracy community. And it even went further than that, as the descendants, or at least one descendant of Geronimo, sued Skull and Bones over Geronimo's bones, because it then even came out that not only the skull but the bones were supposed to be Geronimo's. And the story is that there was a document that showed that George W. Bush's grandfather robbed Geronimo's grave, this would be Prescott Bush, robbed Geronimo's grave, and that members of the secret society, the Skull and Bones, allegedly stole valuable things and put them in a tomb, and that Geronimo's great-grandson says that Geronimo should be buried in accordance with the tradition of his tribe, and that there was a federal law already at play that was supposed to protect Native Americans' rights to their family members' remains. And like I was saying in conversation today, the law is there for the people that the powers that be want to protect. You and me and, people who are not Brotherhood affiliated don't have the same protection under the same law as a person who is Brotherhood affiliated. That's just life. Let's move on. So, and ironically, the color scheme of that was red, white, and black. So they etched Thor, or Thor, as you see, is etched on the bones, look like femur bones or leg bones of Geronimo. And Thor, being a Nordic deity, again, this is showing some degree, on some level, of white versus non-white supremacy. In that saying, well, this guy might have been a chief or meant something in one respect, but we're showing dominance by etching a god that is Nordic and directly connected to white or European paganism, because I'm sure Geronimo was deeply steeped in Native American paganism, so it's magic versus magic. But this is a way of, banging on the other gang, by crossing out one gang's name and writing in the other gang. You're both gangsters, okay? But that's what this was certainly a practice in. As you see here, a close-up of Geronimo's bones and skull and bonesmen surrounding him. And this article, which, for some reason, sometimes these come out blurry when I magnify them. Sometimes they don't, and then sometimes if I keep messing with it, it will stop doing that. But anyway, what that said was Geronimo, his skull, his powers, and a secret society. If you're interested, you can look that up, because that's more to my point, that it was magic against magic. It's not like Geronimo was some innocent sweetheart of a guy. Okay, he was dealing with the magic of his ancestry. And Win Worley, as we've all studied here, has talked about how from culture to culture, no matter what culture you go into, you'll find different devils assigned to different cultures. And those people from that culture may look at that devil as being some beneficial entity or deity or a god. And here is the tomb of Geronimo, shaped in a pyramid with a ceremonial Native American eagle on top of it, just to show and prove. Okay, so he was a Brotherhood member on his side. So you have Brotherhood versus Brotherhood in just about every sporting event. There's a star on each team. So, the bench players don't have to know about the fix in the game, because somebody's got to be out there on the field playing their hardest, or else even the most game goofy minded fan would start to see something is amiss here. These guys, they're not even trying now. They're not even playing hard no more, okay? But if everybody's not in on the fix, then most of the guys are going to be trying hard and playing hard. And so the uninitiated that's watching the game, can get enthralled in the game and really, have a vested interest in who wins, because it looks like to them, to the untrained eye, that everybody's playing their hardest. Again, all it takes is a couple of guys usually the stars, to be in on it. That's one of the things that gets them the big bucks. That's where they become stars. And oftentimes, too, again, these stars being Brotherhood members, they are equated with the magic. You've seen Steph Curry do some magical things. In my time of watching basketball as a man, too young and naive to see through it at one time, I've seen some magical, occulty things. I saw Isaiah Thomas kiss Magic Johnson before the finals when the Lakers was playing the Bad Boys of Detroit. I watched these things. I saw Jordan do inhuman feats. I saw these things.
Day went for it. Michael with the left hand. 10 seconds, 9. Jordan almost had it knocked away. Look out, still fighting it. There he goes. Get it back. He's got time for one more. Yeah. Now Bulls with the lead. They go all the way down the floor. Michael for three. Yes.
Cartwright. Now Jordan. 2 seconds. Lets it fly. And out he goes. Michael Jordan makes. And the Bulls are overtime winners.
Okay, so there was magic at play. There was secret society business at play, brotherhood business at play. You know, the old boys network, wink, wink. You know, a man's man, indeed. And there's sorcery at play. If a musician relies upon or can rely upon a spirit or a devil to inspire them to sing better, like Beyonce said about Sasha Fierce.
Sasha Fierce, when does she show up? Usually when I hear the crowd, when I put on my stilettos, when like the moment right before when you're nervous and that other thing kind of takes over for you.
Or to play the guitar better, like what likely happened with Jimi Hendrix, as he had made admission that he knew something else was inside of him. And he didn't like to look in mirrors because of that something else being inside of him. Well, he won't, or what he didn't say, and didn't get a chance to say by the time of his death at 27, making him a member of the 27 Club. He didn't get to say how that thing got in. They get in through you being a part of these rituals and parties. And probably while he spent the time he spent in Europe, he was turned on to some things by some high European witches who might have just liked the way he played initially. But so if these individuals in these other walks of life that belong to the brotherhood use these spirits to aid them, then what do athletes that belong to the brotherhood use these spirits to do? Fly from the free throw line to dunk? Ladies, that's an inhuman distance for you to jump from the free throw line and dunk the ball. Okay. But, or could you perhaps throw a 70-yard touchdown pass? So these spirits aid you in whatever it is your vocation. So I couldn't help but think about the Skull and Bones connection, not only being on the team that was most likely going to win the Super Bowl, but also the symbolism, all the symbolism in it, even the racial symbolism in Tom Brady being the GOAT. Now there's a GOAT in athletics that's white. It hasn't been that for some time. I'm sorry to use the word white tonight. Some people they act like, oh, well, I don't see color. Well, what's wrong with you? You need to have your vision checked? I'm sure you do. It's not about if you see colors, what do you think when you see it? Rather than to try to act like you're in denial. So yes, There was a big discussion the next day, from people who felt butthurt, people from the black community who felt butthurt because Tom Brady was being called the greatest athlete, not the greatest quarterback. And if you know anything about sports, you know he's not a very athletic guy. He's just not. Okay, he can throw a hell of a pass, but athleticism, no, not so much. Mahomes, definitely more athletic and also ethnic, not, or quote unquote, not what would be considered as white. So again, you had the dark chiefs, or the representation of the North, or the liberals, versus the conservatives, which was the theme all throughout 2020. Can I get some? Drop the mic? No, not yet. Not yet. This was the theme throughout 2020, and this was the championship for 2020. Now, as the Roman emperor, who you let win is determined by who it is you want to keep engaged. You might be losing one part of the population because their political ideology didn't win, and you represent the other political ideology. So you might have to throw that opposition a bone by letting their gladiator get the win in a very big battle seen before the majority of the Roman population. So although you may have represented one political party, political party A versus political party B, or in those times, ideology A versus ideology B. So you may represent ideology A and things were fixed for you to win and become the Roman emperor. Well, but ideology B, they're still sore and mad, and they're not compliant. They're not listening to you as the emperor. They don't want you to be the emperor. They don't like you. And to just calm them down a little taste, it's not going to change their minds, but it will distract them if you let them have a champion. Give them a champion.
Are you not entertained?
Let them have a champion. This is fine. And so that's what, again, I'm just a brother from Detroit public school systems, what do I know? Squandered my full ride scholarship, academic scholarship. Squandered it, so what do I know? But hey, it's what I thought was the elephant in the room. The thing not to be said because it's politically incorrect. You shouldn't say those things. But it's what they said, the Brotherhood, when they came up with the scheme. Because there's always a scheme to the theme of the Super Bowl. Always. For those of you who are old enough, you can remember when the towers came down, the Super Bowl that followed that event, that February. Who won? That was directly related to the political climate. Fellas in the room, tell the ladies. And lady sports fans, I'm not snubbing you at all. Tell your sisters. It was the Patriots. Too slow. So, and that was directly related to the fact that the Patriot Act was to be seen favorably by the population. That's what the powers that be desired. The powers that be needed for the people to see the Patriot Act and the idea of being a patriot as a good thing so that they can gain more control over the people and make more restrictive laws and strip away more Americans' rights. So in order to help to sell that idea of the Patriot Act, they made sure that the Patriots went and won that Super Bowl. Okay, so this points back to the superb owl, the queen of the night, and witches, who again revere this queen of the night, this Lilith spirit, this androgynous spirit that is given the title of being the patron spirit of witches. And witchcraft and transformerism are big deals in Hollywood and apparently in the world of sports as well. And it appears that old Terrific Tom may have found himself under a very ancient Queen of the Night type duality spell. He appears to have a bit of Absalom.
Any superstitions going into the game? Any special thing you carried into the game on Sunday that you had tucked away somewhere?
I did.
Yes, my cojones.
I always
No. I'm pretty sure Tom's a guy. His Adam's apple is about to pop out of his neck. He's a guy. But listen to what he says about his husband.
You know, I've learned a lot from my wife over the years. She's so about the power of intention, you know, and believing things that are really going to happen. And she always makes a little altar for me at the game because she just wills it so much. And so she put together a little altar for me that I could bring with pictures of my kids. And I have these little special stones and healing stones and protection stones, and she has me wear a necklace and take these drops she makes, and I say all these mantras. And I stopped questioning her a long time ago. I did. I just shut up and listened. And at first I was like, this is kind of crazy. And then about 4 years ago, we were playing the Seahawks, and she said, you better listen to me. This is your year, but this is all the things you're going to have to do to win. And I did all those things, and by God, you know, it worked. It was pretty good. And then in 2015, it was about early January, and she said, you know how much I love you? And I said, yeah. And she said, I just want to let you know this is not going to be your year. Oh. And of course we lost. I said, what does 16 look like? And she said, 16 is going to be your year. So it was early January this year, and I said, babe, I asking, like, do we have a chance? And she said, yeah, but you're going to have to do a lot of work, and you're really going to have to listen to me. So, man, I listened to her. And right after the game, she said, I did a lot of work. You do your work, I do mine. She said, you're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch.
That's football, guys.
Hello again. This is Brian Toohey, the author of The Fix is In, The Fix is Still In, and the website thefixisin.net. I've produced a few YouTube videos about my research over the years, and recently many of you have found my video titled The Proof. And while many agree with what I discuss in that video, some of you don't seem to think what I put in that video is enough proof for you. I get it, you want hard evidence. Well, no player or coach has come right out and said I have fixed this game. Yet. But the evidence I provided in that video, plus your own eyes and experience, should prove everything I'm saying about professional sports is true. But fine, you want more proof? Well, here you go. I'm not going to talk about such things as Michael Jordan's bogus retirement, or the sabotaged Super Bowl, or how so many hashtag strong teams have amazingly reached the finals in their respective sport. Nope. What I'm going to talk about in this video are 5 proven, no doubt about it facts and events that should show you once and for all that sports are more about entertainment and money than actual physical competitions. Let's start with boxing. Boxing is fixed. It has been fixed for over 100 years. Whether it's the story of the fake heavyweight champion Primo Carnera, who had every fight of his fixed including winning the championship, or the fact that mobster Frankie Carbo completely controlled the sport in the 1950s with the help of 2 NHL legends in Arthur Wirtz and James Norris, or just Don King's entire career. Boxing has a legacy of being fixed, and it didn't stop in the 1950s either. Just listen to former boxing manager Charles Farrell.
I managed Leon Spinks, former heavyweight champ. I managed Tyrone Booz, former cruiserweight champ. Junior middleweight champ Buster Drayton, featherweight champ Freddie Norwood, and for the briefest of periods, a guy named Jose Rivera, who was the welterweight champ. You fix fights to make betting money. You fix fights to get a fighter a championship. You fix fights to maneuver a fighter up the ranks toward a championship fight. You fix fights to win in order, again, to position someone strategically. You fix fights to lose in order to get paid, in order to make, betting coups.
Can you say how many fights you fixed?
Hundreds. How many, I'm not sure, but hundreds.
And how many millions of dollars have been made selling boxing matches on pay-per-view over the years? The number is unbelievable. Now, how many of you have heard of collusion in baseball? A lot of people like to say conspiracies don't and can't happen in sports. Well, the most provable one happened in Major League Baseball in the 1980s. All of the owners got together in a room with Commissioner Peter Ueberroth and decided they weren't going to pay for any free agents. They were going to kill the market. It didn't matter if future Hall of Fame players were available in free agency. The owners all agreed not to touch another team's free agents. The league did this for 3 straight seasons. It didn't matter to the owners if they won or lost during this period. They only cared about money. The only problem was that they made it so blatant as to what they were doing, the players figured it out. They sued and won over $250 million in court. But the owners literally conspired against the players. Allegedly, they tried to do this again in the 2000s. And while this isn't game fixing per se, the outcome of the 1985, 86, and 87 seasons were all affected by what the owners decided to do, because once again, wins and losses didn't matter, money did. Speaking of baseball, how legitimate are the balls themselves? When Rob Manfred took over as commissioner, he demanded a more exciting game. And wouldn't you know it, home run numbers dramatically increased across the board in Major League Baseball. Were the players juicing? Well, probably. But what was certainly being juiced was the baseballs themselves. And Major League Baseball admitted they can and will alter their balls. The players noticed.
I know Mr. Manfred says the balls haven't changed, but I think there's enough information out there to say that's not true.
Altering baseballs to create more home runs, or conversely, to lessen home runs, is altering baseball games. And who's to say when the juiced or unjuiced balls are being used within a game? Again, like collusion, this isn't exactly a fixed game, but it's certainly not a game being played on the level. And how many wins and losses did this baseball manipulation create? How many careers and contracts were affected? Essentially, you have to ask, how legitimate is Major League Baseball? Now, bad calls and human errors are one thing, but when it's being dictated by the league, then it becomes something else. Back in the 1960s, NHL referees admitted the league instructed them to essentially fix games by determining when and where penalties should be assessed. The book Hockey, the story of the world's fastest game, was first published in 1969. In that first edition, and only in the first edition of the book, there's a chapter titled The Troubles of the NHL that is all about the NHL referees manipulating games. The authors wrote, like most big businesses, hockey rarely is fun to the people closely involved with the game. In fact, it is run just like any other business. And just like any other business, it has its seamier side that too often is overlooked by those who are the supposed sentinels and chroniclers of hockey. Then they quoted the refs. For example, former referee Jack Mellenbacher said, "Anytime you got a bottom team against a top team, you were told to go easy on the bottom team. All the NHL is interested in is 2-1 and 3-2 scores. Close games mean better box office." Another NHL referee, Red Story, wrote an article for a national hockey magazine and declared, "The NHL is becoming a circus and the referees are the clowns." His former colleague, Dalton MacArthur, added, "All teams were to be treated as equals, but some teams were more equal than others." Red Story also said, "When I first entered the league, I was told if there were any breaks going, to give them to the home team. When I was told this, I suggested to Mr. Campbell that if the home team won each game, the teams would wind up tied for first place. He said, well, there's nothing wrong with that. What they don't want is weak teams to be hurt too much by penalties." Flash forward to now, and you get referee Tim Peel saying this on a hot mic.
12:42 to go in the second.
It wasn't much, but I wanted to get a fucking penalty against Nashville early in.
And this isn't just happening in the NHL. Former NBA referee Tim Donaghy claimed the same thing happens in the NBA all the time.
Tim Donaghy, nice enough to join us. You know better than anybody that the NBA is the one league where everybody feels there's a conspiracy. Does the NBA encourage referees to keep games close, or in playoff series to push it to 7-6?
Absolutely. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that knows the game in the NBA that when a team's up by 20 points, the referees officiate a different way. They start giving all the benefits of the calls to the team that's down in that game. It's called, the way to control the game and keep everybody happy, because if a coach and a player is down by 20 points and you're still making calls against them, they feel like you're embarrassing them and they get upset. So in order to keep the peace, they try to give the benefit of the calls that the team is down in the game by 20 or 25 points. And what happens is it brings it a little bit closer and it brings viewership back. The same thing with the series in the playoffs.
Is that an edict from the league? Do you feel that? Is that officials talking to coaches? Is that officials talking to officials? How does that dynamic come about?
Each time you referee a game in the playoffs, they have somebody from the league office come in and you go over the game tapes of the previous game. I talk about this in my book at length, where I was in a series in Houston when they were ahead of the Dallas Mavericks. It was 2 or 3 games to 1, and they told us to concentrate on illegal screens on Yao Ming and traveling violations on Yao Ming. And we left that meeting saying, geez, Houston's going to be at a disadvantage tonight. Not only were they at a disadvantage that night, but they ended up losing the entire series in 7 games to Dallas. So they string these playoff series along to the best of their ability through the referees by telling them and dictating to them what to call.
So here are former refs admitting the leagues rig their own games. Is this not proof enough? Well, then let's end with tanking. There's the famous Mark Cuban quote, which, by the way, is the second time he publicly admitted to making the Mavericks tank games.
The Mavs, once we were eliminated from the playoffs, we did everything possible to lose games.
But we all know game tanking in the NBA is real.
How far will Adam go in acknowledging what everybody else is talking about? How far will he admit something's out there?
Well, he's already admitted something's out there. What I think where his senses will be heightened, for lack of a better phrase, is if it becomes a bit too obvious and you can't fight off the perceptions. That's something that he can't have. Remember that the Philadelphia 76ers with this famed process, trust the process. It was Adam Silver that ultimately intervened, that had something to do with Jerry Colangelo ultimately landing in Philly, because he had spoken to Sixers ownership from a couple of years back because it was so alarming how they were losing on purpose. It's one thing to be sacrificing games because you're trying to position yourself for a lottery pick, a high lottery pick. That's happened throughout NBA history. You can look as far back to the San Antonio Spurs when it came to a David Robinson, or when it came to a Tim Duncan. Boston with Rick Pitino, and how he was competing with the Spurs to get the #1 overall pick because Larry Bird and McHale and Parrish and those boys were not walking through that door. It's understandable when that happens, even though the commissioner wants to keep an eye on it. It's something entirely different when you're sacrificing seasons, which is what the Philadelphia 76ers did. And because it's working out so well for them, it's like a double-edged sword. The NBA loves what they're seeing from Philadelphia, but the process it took to get there, that is not something that the commissioner would ever endorse.
Very ugly.
Sports writers even advocated for it. But these are fixed games. In fact, it is the very definition of a fixed game. The GM, or more likely the owner, are instructing their coaches and players to lose on purpose. What more evidence do you need that this can happen? And for fans, despite teams losing on purpose, there's no discounted tickets, there's no refund on season tickets, no nothing. It's just another NBA game, and it's broadcast as such. Oh, and this apparently is going on in the NFL as well. 2 former head coaches, Brian Flores and Hugh Jackson, publicly claimed to have been instructed to lose by their respective team owners. They were even offered bonus money for their troubles. But this is the very proof that these leagues can and do fix their own games. I don't know how to make this more obvious to the doubters out there. It is 100% legal for a league to fix its own games. The owners have colluded amongst themselves. They have altered gameplay by altering the rules and equipment. They've instructed officials where and when to call penalties, and they have told their coaches and players to lose on purpose. What more proof do you need?
And yes, in the interest of disclosure, basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. But, and I used to play.
Yeah, I just want to pause right there 1 second. Come on. But he keep asking you, what more proof is needed? So this is why I be still, again, it's entertainment. Let's start first. It's a corporation. It's a business, for sure. It's a business. So that's why he said there's no proof when it's a business. The higher ups orchestrate what's happening, how it's carried out. No matter how you want to look at it. When you go to a carnival or a haunted house for Halloween, it's entertainment. You feel like it's real, right? Like even when you go to a haunted house, and some people are still scared, extremely scared, but it's set up from the. So it's not. It shouldn't be far fetched to even believe that. That shouldn't be far fetched. The part now where I'm trying to pinpoint is if you accept it just for entertainment, then it's like watching your favorite show, your favorite movie, right? Entertainment, right? But if you're betting money, if you're betting on it, you're become passionate and start, oh nah, this team is the best and they're gonna win, and you forget that it's again your favorite TV show, movie. You wouldn't bet on your favorite movie. You wouldn't bet like, I bet the ending going to change. That's like, because you know how it's going to end. Not saying, no, we don't know how, but see, that's why the sports is a little different, because you thinking it's a roll of the dice or based on the player's natural abilities. But, so I just want to pinpoint that we get accepted for entertainment, but if you are investing not only your time into it, but your money and losing money on it, so it's like betting on your favorite show as if the ending is going to change. So just got to make it make sense, but yeah, I believe it's self-explanatory. And once you understand it for what it is, then sports it would be like a rerun with new characters. You ever seen when your like an old TV show, we could use even the Will Smith, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yes, I know it's a whole different type of show, but it's the same show, right? It's a different. They have it's not comedic. It's more like a soap opera or whatever, but it's a rerun of that same thing with new characters. So when you look at the new team that's winning in the Super Bowl or going for in basketball, right? Jordan, LeBron, it's just a new star, new actor. Let's get back to it.
Yes, in the interest of disclosure, basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. But and I used to play, and I wasn't bad at it. I didn't want to play for high school. At that time, my focus was music, and I did not feel I could give adequate time to both to be a master at both. But I wasn't no slouch. I'd dunk on you and block your shot too. I couldn't go between my legs very well, but I was a big Piston fan in the Pistons' heyday, the Bad Boys' heyday. That's when I was a teenager, okay? So You know, those was my years, and I'm going to talk a little bit about those things too. The kiss between Magic and Zeke being the same as the kiss between Madonna and Christina Aguilera, or between Madonna and Britney Spears. It was a pass it down kiss. They was passing it down from the old school to the new school to the next school, which was Zeke and then battling with Michael Jordan to pass it down from natural athletic talent to enhanced athletic talent.
Defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
All right, so starting in the 2021-2022 NBA season, the NBA changed from Spalding to Wilson for their official basketballs. You'll see why I said this later in the video. But the other thing I found interesting was the NBA doesn't use a new basketball every game. The ball is handed to the officiating crew before every game and simply gets reused. Interesting. It is also kept in proper condition unless a player asks to keep it. And NBA game balls are subject to an extensive review process. Think about it, an extensive review process before they're used in an NBA game. And furthermore, it says after the final buzzer during the season, the 3 balls selected for use in an NBA game will be returned to the equipment store of the home team for general use in practice and drills. Peep that number, 3 different basketballs. Now in this next section, there's a YouTuber by the name of Jam's Plethora that goes into the specs of the basketball and mentions how there is digital technology. Go subscribe to this channel, it has some good content out there.
You read that right there, but then you go down here and it shows features and specs. So the specs here are pretty much the same as the ones on Spalding. So it shows you that. Ships inflated, all that kind of stuff, right? So you go back, but you go to the features and it pretty much shows you all that. But I want to note this right here. If you look here, it says the NBA Game Ball 1 is the closest to what is used by the pros every season. However, basketball is used for NBA games, may have unique specifications, digital technology, and or stricter quality controls or tolerances. So I want to take notice of digital technology. So a lot of people have questioned as of lately, and I've seen this become a lot more prevalent of a question. Are there magnets inside of the basketballs? Do I think so? Yes, definitely. Because I've seen after that Kawhi shot against the Sixers in 2019, I had no choice but to believe it.
Now, if you remember from my magnetics in football video, how they put a transmitter inside the football, look what Wilson is able to do with the technology in a basketball. Now, what I'm finna show you is not the official NBA basketball, but it's from the same brand, Wilson, that makes the official NBA basketball. Also the same ones that make the official NFL football. And we've already seen the magnetics with the football and the gloves. So you gotta ask yourself, would you really put it past Wilson to do this with an official NBA basketball? Especially when you factor in all the money wrapped up in sports betting. Because remember, this is a sports entertainment business.
We have a basketball.
A very smart basketball.
It's very
Some would
smart.
say the smartest basketball you've ever seen. Somewhere inside of this ball, it's a Wilson X Smart basketball. It has something in it that talks to your devices that helps you learn how to play basketball. The way that this one works is it gives you 20 seconds on the clock. And so for every 2-point shot you make, you get a certain number of seconds, like 5 seconds added to it. For every 3-pointer you make, you get like 8 or 9 seconds added to it. And so you can just keep playing, like you could play this all day long, but your clock is gonna run out the more shots that you miss. Mel thinks that the actual chip is right here in this spot. And it makes sense because on the other side, there's the air side of it, even though it has the Bluetooth logo. But this is where it must be. Okay, you got it. Look at that thing. All right, is this it? You think that's it?
Yeah,
It has to be.
We still don't know much more. When I was throwing this up earlier, the ball, it felt like it was a little bit lopsided. It seems like that's heavy enough to make it wobble. Oh, yes. What's inside of this sensor that's inside of the Wilson X ball?
Is?
What is it, liquid?
Oh, it's battery.
It's having a baby. Whoa! What?
I wonder if it moves inside that little capsule.
When the ball spins, it can sense the rotation of it. That is interesting. And on this top side, it looks like it's the battery, like right there.
Yeah.
It's gotta have something to get that RFID chip.
So does it ever die?
I don't know. Well, I just chopped the battery out of it. That's a pretty heavy duty battery. Will it run out of battery? It could. This is all the technology inside of it with the motherboard, the chips inside.
You can definitely see the chips.
To make a shot from anywhere on the court. Is it magic or is it magnets? Tiny magnets placed on the ball, ensuring a strong attraction to the metal rim. Watch. And when Barron needs more magnets, Barron gets more magnets. Don't believe me? Watch the NBA playoffs and you'll see there's really no other explanation.
Now we all know whenever you shoot a basketball, it's supposed to bounce off the rim if it doesn't go in, assuming you don't airball or flat out brick off the backboard. Now I would love for somebody to explain this shot to me. Nigga, the ball is sitting on the top of the rim. It didn't bounce. And to all the trolls that love to say, oh, it's just physics, that's what a ball did that. I would love for you to physics your way out of this one, bitch. If you really think there's not magnets in this shit, watching these, I don't know what to tell you. Now, I played basketball my entire life, and not once has this ever happened shooting the ball. The ball doesn't sit this long on the front of the rim and go in. If you say it does, you just playing 2K and you got a glitch. Now to this next one, this shit is just ridiculous. The dude airballs a free throw. Clearly doesn't have range. Airballs the 3, confirms he doesn't have range. Now watch the half-court shot. Sinks it. Really? Really?
If you get that first rebound. Because the block gives you 2.1 Plumlee doing? And there is Anthony Davis. Well, you got to follow him. No. Yeah, there was no screen, Plumlee. You got to follow him. There ain't no screen. Yeah, that was a magnet. Man. First buzzer beater for AD.
Now watch this shot by Anthony Davis. He had a fadeaway three-pointer. As you can see, this shot is short, way short. Now, as you can see from the basketball's trajectory, at the last minute, it starts to drift to our right to go in the basket. Now listen to what former NBA player Josh Smith has to say about magnets in the rims while he's watching this Sixers game.
Ice Trey said he the fourth member of the Migos, man. Look, they got a magnet on the rim. That wasn't even supposed to go in. Look at him, now he hurt. Look at him. See what happened? See what happened when you get your ass kicked? They got a magnet on the rim. That wasn't even supposed to go in.
Does he want animals? Does he want like the worshipers of Baal? Does he want my son burned on the altar? No.
Prophet of God, God's people Israel. Israel has turned to the Baals. They haven't nationally repented, and now he's a mess. And God says,
has a right to practice the religion of the Aztecs or the religion of Baal mentioned in the Old Testament, in both of which children were.
I've got some interesting stuff. And yes, Brotherhood of the Ball, the same ball that you find in the Old Testament, that's what that ball that you bounce or that you hit with a bat is named after. And I'll show and prove. But let's look at some things. And I'm sorry, the page got a little roughed up there. Been doing a lot of work on this. So there probably will be a part 2, because I'll tell y'all, I got 3 pages in this pad and 1 in another. So this is a 4-pager. But the athlete, well, the first thing I looked at was the word Athens, which I know comes from Athena, who is a warrior goddess. right. That's why there's such a common running joke among women about how they fellas would rather look at the ball game sometime than to spend time looking at them. Have mercy. But the athlete, in Roman, you have, or in the Roman mythological pantheon, and it's called mythological, however, we take that nowadays to mean that there's nothing but fantasy to it. But this isn't true. Myth is really, and Zechariah Sitchin has touched on this a number of times, myth is really based on the ancients' account of the fallen angels. So in Rome, they have a name. In Egypt, they have a name. The Neteru. Okay? In Samaria, they had a name, the Anunnaki. Okay? They have different names in different cultures. You have the gods of ancient Greece, the gods of Mount Olympus, which is where you get the word Olympics from. And then you have the culture of Rome, which came after Greece. So Ares is the Roman god of war. Okay? And this also relates to Athena. Okay? We're going to run it all together. Because in general, your football game is a war game. I remember Dr. York used to teach us, because they try to make you a Mars black man. Dr. York used to teach us that football was a Martian war game. Well, now, I've never been to Mars. Don't plan to go. But we know that it is set up indeed like a war game. The terminologies therein bear witness to that fact. You throw the bomb, you in the other team's territory, you play on a field, okay? The violence that is involved. It is not only a contact sport, but it is a brutal sport. We're going to look at all of these things, and this directly relates to Ares being the Roman god of war.
Every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that itch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch.
And the players ramming into one another. Aries is also called the ram. Ram, as we looked at this before, but it's much more important that we relate it to this, okay? Because now we can look at some things on another level. Ram, backwards is the word mar. People were trying to talk about the relationship between Walmart and you know, the wall in Walmart is law backwards. Sometimes you got to turn the word backward too. Okay, but mar means to destroy, to tear up. Okay, to mar something is to scar it, to tear it up. And of course we know that Mars is supposed to be scarred, they say, from wars, or it looks to be scarred by wars and by projectiles from outer space scarring the face of Mars. You know, for those who believe in conventional science, they'll tell you, well, that's it's scarred from asteroids and meteors and whatnot smashing into the planet. Okay, but then M is nothing but a W, upside down, and we've talked about W a number of times. W is comprised of 3 V's. Okay, you have the 2 V's on either side, and then you have the V that is upside down V that's made by the hump that's in the middle. See this? That part right there, right in the middle, right in the center. That's a V upside down. And you got a V on the on my left and a V on my right.
Well, I hate to be the one to throw the spanner in the works, my dear. However, it seems that quite a few of you have a problem understanding a very simple to prove non-existence of the W prior to the Latin languages. W is a post-Latin letter. Italian, French, and Spanish prove it, as the modern-day survivors of this ancient language of the world empire of Rome all use forms of double V. There was no W. It is a corruption done by scribes who hurriedly made the character of V with a curve at the bottom. And this gave place to the modern-day U. So a W is double V. V is 5 in Roman numerals in the Latin or Romance languages. However, prior to the language of Rome, V was 6 in Hebrew, the language from which we translate the Old Testament. There is no W, my dear, in either Latin or Hebrew languages. There was a V, and 2 V's together gave us the sound that people now attribute to W. It's child's play, my dear. It's even in children's dictionaries. W is clearly double V or 2 V's, except in cursive. When you write it, if you print the letter W, you can clearly identify the well-defined lines and angles present in a properly drawn V. And upon even closer examination, if we consider the V to be a geometrical shape, we can then look at the W which is really a double V, and imagine a third V shape inverted in between the first V and the last V that construct the W shape. Having that understanding now, you can clearly see that W is VVV, or 666. Clearly, we understand that neither Monster Drink or the World Wide Web is the mark of the beast. It is also just as clear that the major corporations who stumble upon these symbols and logos that equate to 666 are corporate entities with shareholders, R&D research teams, and a lot of very smart thinkers. Are we to believe they know not what they do? Do you? My word.
Okay, so if W is an upside down M, which you learned that when you was a little kid writing on that big green paper, on that tough green paper, that paper was tough, but it'd tell though when you got ready to erase something, didn't it? But when you turn it upside down, you see war, and Aries is the god of war, and supposedly attributed to those who are born in the season of the sign Aries, or when we're supposedly passing through the constellation of Aries. They say that this creates athletic people and also people who have a more warlike or soldier-like spirit or mentality. Why are they always relating soldiers to athletes? Well, it's because in the beginning, even in the movie, I believe it was in the movie Gladiator, they even infused a scene of football in the midst of the gladiation scene. That was Gladiator, right? And this was the show, and I think they might have did something like that in Any Given Sunday. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm confusing the two, but you get the point. One comes from the other. The old sport was men fighting each other. Okay? Actual fights to the death.
Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch.
And the loser is sacrificed, just like you've heard about the ancient origins of basketball. It's true that they say come from the ancient South American cultures like the Mayans, the Incas, the Aztecs. They had forms of this sport. And of course the lie is that some explorer went to Africa and saw them playing this game with a basket. Which could have been true because Africans migrated from the continent of Africa to everywhere on the planet. And so even your South Americans, our brothers that call themselves Latino, they also have African origins. And it's not just because of that fake skeleton Lucy that's a monkey or something, but because of the fact that the African civilization spread itself worldwide. Okay, so this is why you find a lot of African centered beliefs in places that are supposedly unreachable, by ancient Africans. Okay, now there are a number of theories of how they got around, but that's another story for another video, another time. So yes, let's read some things off right quick. The word athlete. Well, first of all, Ares. You'll also find the Greek equivalent of A-R-E-S, or spelled A-R-I-S. What I tell y'all about the vowels. Vowels are interchangeable. You see, Ares and Ares. Okay, god of war in Greek, god of war in Roman. But guess what they'll tell you on the sites dedicated to mythology and astrology? They'll say that they're not related. And this goes to show you that you have witches and warlocks that actively work on sites used to confuse you and to lose you and to make you unaware of the relationships between things. Okay, so you don't have enough game when you get started with different things. That's the point.
Back to back, quickly. Can't we do anything but just stand here? Isn't there any way of fighting back?
Only one.
What?
The last two lines of the Susama ritual.
God's sake, then what are you waiting for?
I daren't use them until our very souls are in peril of destruction. To do so would destroy us as effectively as it would stop Makata. It could alter time and space and...
What is it?
He has given up trying to get Simon. He has sent the angel of death himself to claim him.
And us?
If he once breaks into the circle, if we once catch sight of his face,
God's sake, Lister, say it! I daren't!
But let's look at Ares, god of war. They said he was murderous, blood-stained, but a coward. Okay, Ares, the Roman god of war, and Athena, the goddess of the military, of soldiers. Okay, both things. Because Athens comes from Athena, and we know the relationship of Athens to the Olympics, and also the Latin word athleta. There's a company that makes athletic gear called Athleta, and that comes from the Greek athlos, which means contest, or athlon, which means prize, and literally athletes, which means a combatant or combatants in games, and athlene, to compete for a prize. So this is where you get the of athlete, and of course, again, they were competing to the death in the beginning. Okay, you see injuries on the field. I know that in different sporting events people have died. Don't think that when those people died there was not some some celebration done by members of the Brotherhood because something happened really in honor of the gods that they do the games for. This is where you get all of the different names of the sports teams being affiliated with magic, witchcraft, paganism, or mythology. Okay. Football is a war game. We talked about that. The field, throw the bomb, enemy territory, downs, a man down, violence, size and strength, gladiators or wrestlers. Another term, original term for athlete. So again, you know, gladiators fought to the death. And wrestlers, see, we were told we wrestle not against flesh and blood. It's a waste of time to do so. Okay? But we wrestle, we war with powers and principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places and whatnot. Ephesians 6. Athletes who kill. Oh, let's jump. Athena, daughter of Zeus, chief god of Olympus. All right, Athena, daughter of Zeus, chief god of Olympus. Zeus was the chief. He was the master blaster. He was the boss of the hot sauce. Okay, then you have Athena is the virgin goddess of reason, intelligent activity, arts and literature. Okay, this is why you find colleges role in the collegiate focus on athletics. The athletic department runs many colleges. She sprang full grown in armor from his forehead. Okay. She was fierce and brave in battle. She warred to defend the state and home from outside enemies. That's why you have your home team and your state team. And they go to war on the field to a fight song, such as Hail to the Victor. So, yes, more about Athena. She was Zeus's favorite child. She was allowed to use his weapons. She invented the bridle to tame horses, important for warfare. The trumpet, used in fight songs. The yoke, to hold together oxen, to pull the loads for warfare. The ship and chariots. The owl is her bird. Sound familiar? Their belief that they can see things that others cannot, because of their esoteric and exoteric information, their occult allegiances, and of course, their communing with spirits that some believe are their ancestors and others know full well are deceiving demonic beings. And the owl is symbolic of those who have this knowledge of the fallen. The fallen manipulated not only mankind's beliefs and philosophies, but mankind's genetics, the genetics of plants, and the genetics of animals. And it is my contention that the owl is one such animal, and this is why it is revered, and so unlike the other fowl species in a plethora of ways. But I had to really look at the different reasons why they revere the owl, or why they will say they revere the owl, and why they don't say. One is its nighttime capabilities. It's a nocturnal fowl, and its ability to see at night is only rivaled by its ability to see almost behind its back, its ability to turn its head. It was also the accompaniment of Lilith and Minerva and Athena. It is symbolic of mother goddess worship, and when you see the owl and the other symbols associated with the eyes and the vision of the elite, the Illuminati. They are bragging that they are able to see things and understand things that you cannot. And
last question: the tattoo on your chin, what does that signify?
Oh, it's an owl. It just means wisdom and knowledge and learning things.
But we did. Buckwheat cheese. Okay.
And young people, just because something is ancient or African does not make it instantly evil or holy. And just because something comes before something else doesn't mean that it's better or righteous. When you find out that respected, aka oath taker scholars and academics and historians lied about who ISIS really is, you might not like it. First, there was no woman Isis or goddess, but there was a Jesus, and there is no scripture telling us to worship or to pray to Mary or call ministers father. Both are in direct contradiction to what scripture actually says in John 14:3, Deuteronomy 5:7, and Matthew chapter 23, verse 9. Worship of the Holy Womb, also known colloquially as the Holy Cat, is worship of the Holy Pussy Cat. The aforementioned Catholic practices are evidence that the same worship is being practiced and the people in the pews can't see. The original fallen angels from the war in heaven, disguised as gods. Isis, like the rest of the pantheon of Egypt, the so-called gods of Amentet, the so-called gods of Mount Olympus, and the star gods of Rome, are really fallen angels. And they taught man to do freakish things and use the disguise of the female form to entice men and to hack into man's DNA through intercourse, sex magic rituals, and genetic manipulation. Isis, queen of witches, is not a woman. The Illuminati want to attract men to her, especially people of color in search of pride, who wish to be gods and not God's people. And I understand that that's especially unpopular today, when more folks are able to meme and tweet and find things out in a little bite and a little bit, rather than actually read and find out the whole story behind something, let alone use comparison and contrast and look at the other stories of gods around the world and come to this very logical and rational conclusion. They did the same things, said the same things, looked the same, many times had names that were spelled the same and similar because they were all the same. Isis is often shown with her sex magic conjured up son Horus in her arms, as is the Catholic Madonna, because they are truly one and the same. You're not stupid. Sometimes just naive and in desperate need of real power and a respectable identity. But you have no supernatural magic power. Yet you tatted a whole ankh on your arm. You wonder why bisexuals and trisexuals are drawn to you. Witches know the ankh is a sex magic power symbol, the womb and the shaft connected. Not a key, not simply life, but more specifically, it is about the sex act as the key to start the ignition spark of life. Crowley had power in this world, political and otherwise, and knew how to use these things as intended. You are living in a fantasy where you nor anyone you know is able to use ankhs, third eyes, or four eyes to keep the bills paid, let alone vanquish our devilish, well-organized enemies who know how to use this magic as was first intended. You don't need ancient fertility rituals of sex magic to catch a man or a woman, I hope. But then again, I don't know about some of y'all. Here are two popular images of Bastet shown either as a cat sitting upon their haunches or standing as a cat-headed woman. Of course, Bast was the god worshipped in the Black Panther comic and is depicted as a woman. Again, another Queen Mother Goddess idea, and Queen Mother Goddess ideas come from the fallen and are always steeped in sex magic rituals. The moon, because it is an influencer of emotions and menstrual cycles. Isis, Bast, Hathor, all the same act, a trick, in fact, played by the fallen upon the impressionable ancient Egyptians and their ancestors today. just as impressionable and trying to find their own way rather than obey. But anyway, the British Museum houses many of the artifacts stolen, raped, and pillaged from the Dark Continent and so-called Middle East, a misnomer. Check out her feet, talons. She perches on the backs of lions, big cats. The Illuminati masters love when you trade the prophets and elders of the scripture and the FBA church for ancient depictions of gods and goddesses because of your desire to control and want control and power, and because of your need to identify with something uber powerful. It's not appeasing or appealing to you to simply be a servant of the living and true, or not even to be a member of the crew of the chosen few. They know the true nature of this spirit, while we let boule operatives and deceived men deceive us over and over and over again and lure us back into a bondage that Israel escaped from millennia ago. A bondage that leads to only hellfire, confusion, destruction, delusion. Their wish is to fill human made idols with the spirit of the witch. The movie Metropolis, which played intermittently on the screen behind Whitney Houston in this scene, and the video taken from it, the movie hints to one process of inserting that witch or queen of the night spirit into the Brotherhood's chosen and carefully selected vessels. As stated, we saw it happen with Whitney. Go back and watch the movie. It's all in the background while she's on stage performing Queen of the Night. Coincidentally. What is being shown? Pictures from this movie, Metropolis, which shows the process through which one is MK ultrafied and infused with this spirit, this ancient spirit that is the prototype woman for the new age. Janelle Monáe has also shown her tribute to this idea. And she's shown in a multitude of ways, what a play on words, that there's some multiplicity going on, dissociation, multiple personalities, alters, which is often the result of this process. And the victim or the target is then able to switch from personality to personality at the whim of their handler, who knows certain code words or instructions to cause for them to do so. Beyonce is another one who showed tribute to Metropolis and also has exhibited this alter personality behavior and has also been accused of witchcraft. Maybe Beyonce's drummer wasn't as crazy or throw it off as the media tried to make us believe, huh? And ancestors. You have ancestors that historically rejected the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And you have ancestors that were obedient to that God and who were his chosen people before rebelling. And I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And God said unto him, call her name Lo-ruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. Hosea 1 and 6. Then said God, call his name Lo-ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Hosea 1 and 9. A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are going away backward. Isaiah 1 and 4. Witchcraft and sex magic are forbidden. Whether it's Catholic or Egyptian, it's a trick and will only invite dark spirits into your life.
This is the way the Brotherhood maintained power, in fact, by using the evil powers that the fallen taught the pharaohs and their magicians in the very beginning. Powers which were used to control the masses, the same as today. So you can't take it back because it's doing what it was designed to do, what they designed it to do. And if you keep on asking they, who? The fallen, who masqueraded as gods, the gods of the first civilizations, Babylon, Egypt, Persia, Greece, Rome, and everyone after, before and in between. She's related to Minerva, that's why. Lilith, queen of the night, the queen of heaven, Semiramis, and Isis, the queen of Egypt and Semiramis of Babylon, respectively. Minerva in Roman mythology. I looked up Minerva Ares. I was looking for a direct connection. Of course, I found something different. Minerva Ares is an oil tanker registered in Malta. Ares in the ancient world, however, was called the Star of Minerva. So that came through. So more with Ares, the ram. Again, we got ram. You turn that W upside down. Look at the other letter or the other sound that same symbol symbolizes when you flip it up. And you find raw, R-A-W. And of course, your wrestling show was called Raw. And then my understanding was the inverse of it. It was also called War at one time. Now, they said that the ram was different than Ares because the ram is supposed to represent the golden fleece sought by Jason and the Argonauts. However, they say that Ares, the ram of astrology, is not related to Ares of Greek mythology, and that's a lie. Because what we know about Ares in astrology is its gem is the diamond, which represents the star. Stars were diamonds, right? Its sex, and they all have the sex, is male. And again, athletics is aimed at males. However, you really have a goddess over it. Isn't that interesting? The duality dynamic is strong in sports. A lot of dudes play sports, and I'm not talking about everyone, and certainly not those of you whom I got love for, especially. But sometimes, and yes, sports has its great application. You can take a lot of things that are meant for bad, and you can apply the truth that is built upon to benefit you in some way. Okay, we do this. We know how to do this in the advanced class, right? Some of y'all is in the advanced class. Some of you still game goofy goobers. So for game goofy goobers, they got involved in sports because it upped their sense of manliness and manhood. They don't think, you know, they're man enough unless they know everybody box score. Or they don't feel like they're man enough unless they can make the team. You find this in, you know, various cultures and various ethnicities. They have their own form of this. Even in so-called primitive cultures, they have their own form of this. You got to prove yourself. You got to go out there and kill a lion or something. That don't mean you're not gay as a party. And of course, you have a lot of hidden homosexuality in the sports world, and it's starting to come out now more and more as people are coming out off rip, coming out of college, coming out and whatnot. Like, oh boy, Aries is supposed to be competitive. It's the first sign, so it's about coming in first. Important in sports, is it not? What place you're in. The alpha male mentality. Now, I don't know, but my understanding is the Omega Psi Phi is the frat that's more supposedly dominant in sports. I know Shaq pledged, and we know that Michael Jordan pledged. And
And that's not to take away from people's athleticism and whatnot. See, some people, it's like talking about music. Because the music sound good, you don't want to hear what's wrong. That's the wrapper that the Trojan horse is wrapped in. Isn't that your favorite brand? But if you recall the tale of the Trojan horse, it looked like a gift. It looked like something good, but inside of it was something bad. Have mercy. So again, we're not looking at the gift of sports. We're not looking at that. You know that like the back of your hand. Can't nobody tell you nothing wrong with it. So you remember that part. I can't make you forget. Wouldn't try to. But I'm trying to give you 720. You got 360 of why it's all good all the way around. Now let me show you the other way around. So you be well rounded. Most High God, my tongue, God, my mind, God, my heart to be in alignment with your will. And Heavenly Father, let there be no interruption or hindrance in delivering this message. And I ask this in the authority of the name of Jesus. And I loose legions of angels to ensure that it is so. And in the authority of the name of Jesus, it is done. Jesus, it is done.
Shout out to the good brother. Shout out to the good brother. Damn, what's the part? Shout out to the good brother. Unplug him for dropping that knowledge. 1 second.
Today's Paid to Ad is sponsored by What's Your Flavor? That's right, What's Your Flavor by the talented Chef Breon. The best kitchen you'll ever eat, located in Atlanta, Georgia. That's right, you heard me, shorty. Down in the A, if you're looking for a little Caribbean flavor, seafood flavor, or El Pollo or a little Sazon flavor, stop by if you're ever in the area. You want to get your vibration vibrating and your stomach satisfied. You can find them on Instagram at chefb_84. And be sure to call 678-760-0954 and ask for Chef B. And when he answers, be sure to tell him what's your flavor.
He definitely went deep I know he went in deep. But I know you might have to hit rewind a couple of times on that. But as I said before, not here to burst nobody's bubble. Just trying to give you some insight. Or like he said, you got 360, I'm trying to give you the over 720. That's it on the other side. Yeah, and so basically, yeah, man, I know this is gonna be a long live, but we're gonna end it on that, you know. Yo, listen, still, I love the sport, man, for the exercise. Feel me? That I guess entertainment purposes, but just know, as always, man, as always. Stay wise, stay healthy, stay blessed, and most importantly, stay concrete. Let me just play a couple of 1 or 2 motivational joints here. Let me just play this little clip. This was crazy. Since we talk about sports, I just want to play this little clip. Run the back. We caught the ball with the bear and the baby in his hand. That was gangster.
Transparent moment. I've always wondered why leaves fall off of trees. I hope I'm not the only one. I did a deep dive and I found out that that's a false narrative. Leaves don't fall off trees. Trees get rid of leaves. Yeah, it's a process that certain trees go through before harsh weather seasons. Actually, when leaves change colors, it's actually the trees absorbing the nutrients from the leaves and then stores it deep in its roots. Did you know that in harsh seasons, leaves become a liability to trees rather than an asset? Come here, come here. So in the season we call autumn and the colors of the leaves are changing, that is when the tree is preparing itself for the coming winter. Learning how to let things go is actually one of the most important tools you're going to need when preparing for your next season. In a season where you're supposed to be gaining information, you're too busy trying to hold on to things that was never designed to carry you through the next season. It's okay to let it go. Oftentimes, things that are good for you can actually hold you back, because what was good for you in the last season may not be good for you in the next. You do know leaves grow back, but they're not the same leaves that fell off. Oftentimes, we are holding on to things that are actually holding up the space that God wants to fill. Letting go of what was is faith that you believe what is to come is better than what's been.
Bars. Yeah, a little inspirational, positive message, you know, before we get out of here. But again, as always, people, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you made it this far, I definitely appreciate you. You know, I know this one is kind of long, but as always, stay blessed, stay healthy, stay wise. Most importantly, stay concrete.
Exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, but I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, but I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. Wish that I could move, but I'm exhausted and nobody understands.
I'm not supposed to be scared, but why lie? The fact is, you bleed, I'll bleed, but you cry when I die. I'm Popeye on the quest for the greenery. I'm don't turn the bad vibe, no time for bye-bye. I fire when I'm changing the scenery. Steve one is the same thing. How you seeing me? I only tell half truth, but you believe in me. 100% of the time, I'm losing my mind. Talks of death got me pursuing the find a high power. I burn trees and a live flower. It's fine how I turn my fears to a metaphor. It's better for the music we hear, the music you hear. Straight from the soul that never was sold. I got a poker face on with a hand that never would fold. Straight as a pole from the Sin City. I've been waiting in the city where it's hard to never be cold.
Scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. Wish that I could move, but I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. Wish that I could move, but I'm exhausted and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be.
It's still biatch. Niggas say he's tripping while I'm steady walking. Y'all niggas steady limping. Stressing off just some bullshit, so I'm steady sipping. When they was giving out sins, y'all niggas thought they missed it. I'm about to school y'all niggas smarter than a nigga with pity to fool y'all niggas. My niggas are desert, so DJ Clue y'all niggas threaten my life and I'ma have to pull these triggers. I'm smarter than you think. Taking shots to me down every time we fucking wink. Till the day someone die every time my bitches wink. And my flow nasty nigga like vomit in the sink. New denims, sitting on the fresh phones. I switch hoes like I switch clothes. I'm with my classy bitch, so I'm in dress clothes. It's your funeral, I'm with all black like the dress code.
Be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted, and nobody understands. Not supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted, and nobody understands. Not supposed to be
scared of shit, you know I'm well prepared for this. 23 pumps on the trunk to come and air the shit. I'm Mike Jordan in the ball, you can't call me. When I come back with that 4-5, warn them. Swarming like bees in a beehive, we warn them. Left them on the scene with skinny jeans and garments. But the kid ain't mine, so please tell me why Billie Jean keep calling. The shit I seen often, babies have abortions. No need for coffins and niggas keep flossing. So keep talking for the heat, leap off his waist and keep stalking. You see darkness, keep watching on the front line. How you my brother, but you scared to fight one time, huh? All I got is one rhyme that I'm gonna deliver. Only nigga scared is the man in the mirror. Nigga.
scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted, and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted, and nobody understands. I'm supposed to be scared of anything, but I don't know where I am. I wish that I could move, and I'm exhausted, and nobody understands. Not supposed to.
You woke yet?
It's your favorite host, Mike P, and you already know, as always, everything concrete.